The boarding process for Flight 447 to San Diego was already running late when Sarah Matthews stepped onto the plane, her carry-on bag slung over one shoulder and her boarding pass clutched in her weathered hand. Before we continue, tell me in the comments which country are you watching this story from right now? I'm curious to know where in the world you are as we share this incredible moment together. She was a woman in her early 40s, her athletic frame moving with quiet purpose, her brown hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. The ticket agent had upgraded her to first class as a thank you for her military service, a small gesture she'd accepted with humble gratitude. What nobody on that plane knew was about to change everything about this ordinary flight. She found her seat, and settled in, trying to ignore the stares from the businessman across the aisle who clearly thought she didn't belong there. Sarah was used to being underestimated. At 5'6" and with a soft-spoken demeanor, people rarely guessed what she'd done, what she'd survived, what she carried with her every single day. Then a loud voice shattered the relative peace. "Excuse me, flight attendant." A man in an expensive suit 2 rows back was standing, his face red with indignation. "I paid full price for first class, and I'm stuck back here while he jabbed a finger towards Sarah, probably got some free upgrade she doesn't deserve. "I want her seat." The flight attendant, a young woman named Jessica, looked uncomfortable. "Sir, all seats are assigned." "I can't just move passengers around. Do you know who I am?" "I'm Gerald Hoffman, VP of Coastal Industries. I fly this route twice a month." "Get her out of that seat now, or I'll make sure your supervisor hears about this." His voice carried through the cabin, and Sarah felt every eye turn toward her. Jessica approached hesitantly. "Ma'am, I'm so sorry, but would you be willing to move to seat 5C? It's still first class, just a few rows back." Sarah's jaw tightened, but she nodded slowly. She'd fought in places where standing your ground meant life or death, but this wasn't that battlefield. Sometimes discretion was the better choice. She gathered her bag and stood, reaching up for her jacket in the overhead bin. That's when it happened. As she stretched, her loose shirt rode up slightly on her back, revealing the edge of an intricate tattoo. Most people wouldn't have recognized it, but Captain James Reynolds, who had just stepped out of the cockpit to check on the delay, saw it instantly and froze in the aisle, the trident. The seal trident, but not just any seal insignia. This one was surrounded by dates and coordinates, imagery that only someone who'd served would understand. And in the corner, barely visible, were the letters DevGru. Reynolds' face went pale. DevGru. Naval Special Warfare Development Group, the most elite of the elite. And those dates, he recognized one of them. The Kandahar mission. The one that had saved his brother's unit. Now, pause for a second and think about this. Can you imagine standing face to face with a living legend and not knowing it? If this story is gripping you, drop a comment below about a time someone surprised you with their hidden strength. I read every single one. "Ma'am," Reynolds said, his voice carrying authority that made everyone in first class sit up straighter. "Can I speak with you for a moment?" Sarah turned, curious. Reynolds gestured toward the front galley. Once they were out of earshot, he spoke quietly. "That tattoo. Kandahar, 2011, were you there?" Sarah's eyes searched his face, cautious. "I was. My brother was pinned down in that compound. 4 SEALs got them out through enemy fire. Command said one of them took 2 rounds and kept fighting. They said it was the bravest thing they'd ever witnessed." His voice cracked slightly. "My brother came home because of that mission, because of you. It was my team," Sarah said simply. "We all played our part." Reynolds shook his head. "No, I did my research after he told me. Only 1 SEAL took fire that day and stayed in the fight. Lieutenant Sarah Matthews. They recommended you for the Navy Cross." Sarah looked away. "I did my job. That's all. Not today, you're not." Reynolds strode back into the cabin, his presence commanding immediate attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Captain Reynolds, and we have a slight delay. Mr. Hoffman, is it?" The gentleman demanding a seat change? Gerald stood, smug. "Yes, Sir, I need you to gather your belongings and move to seat 5C immediately." "What? You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious." This woman, Reynolds gestured to Sarah, who stood mortified in the galley entrance, is a decorated combat veteran who served our country with extraordinary valor. She earned that seat in ways you couldn't begin to understand. Now move, or you'll be removed from this aircraft entirely. The cabin erupted in applause. Passengers stood, some with tears in their eyes. An older veteran 3 rows back saluted. Gerald, his face purple with rage and humiliation, grabbed his briefcase and slunk to the back of first class. Reynolds turned to Sarah. "Ma'am, please return to your seat. And after we land, if you're willing, I'd like to buy you a coffee and hear about my brother's rescue. He's getting married next month, and I'd love for him to meet you." Sarah's eyes glistened. "I'd like that, Captain." As the plane finally pushed back from the gate, Jessica brought Sarah a handwritten note from the flight attendants. "Thank you for your service. Today's drinks are on us," but Sarah barely noticed. She was thinking about all the brothers and sisters she'd served with, the ones who came home and the ones who didn't, and how sometimes the hardest battle is accepting that what you did mattered. When they landed in San Diego, the captain made an announcement. "Folks, we have a genuine American hero on board today. Lieutenant Sarah Matthews, U.S. Navy SEAL, retired. Ma'am, on behalf of this crew and these passengers, thank you for your sacrifice." The entire plane stood and applauded for 3 full minutes. If this story moved you the way it moved me, if it reminded you that heroes walk among us every day unrecognized, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I share stories like this that celebrate the quiet courage, the hidden sacrifices, the moments that restore our faith in humanity. Stories that honor those who served, who bled, who carried the weight so others wouldn't have to. Share this with someone who needs to remember that respect should be freely given, not grudgingly earned. Let's keep these powerful lessons alive together. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next story.